What if I told you you've been learning the wrong way your entire life? Most people struggle to remember what they learn, while a small group of high achievers absorb knowledge at lightning speed. Their secret? A science backed method that helps them learn 10 times faster than 99% of people. Think about it. How often do you watch tutorials, reread notes, or try learning something new only to forget it later? The problem isn't you, it's the outdated way we've been taught to learn, but here's the good news. Your brain is built to learn faster than you think, if you use the right techniques. In this video, I'll show you science-backed strategies that feel like cheat codes for your brain, whether you want to start a podcast, learn a new language, or finally understand math. These strategies will help you learn smarter, not harder. No more wasting time. Let's unlock your full learning potential. Ever spent hours binge-watching cooking tutorials only to burn your first attempt at scrambled eggs? Or bought a stack of self-help books convinced they'd change your life, only to let them collect dust on your shelf? Here's the hard truth. Passive learning tricks you into feeling productive. You watch, you nod, you think you've mastered the skill until reality hits. That blank stare when you try to speak a foreign phrase you've heard a dozen times. That's your brain revealing the lie of easy learning. Neuroscience shows real growth happens through what researchers call productive struggle. It's those times when you're making mistakes, struggling with ideas, and really figuring things out. It's not about rewatching that perfect video over and over. It's about cracking eggs, getting the measurements wrong, and understanding why things went wrong. The real learning happens when you stop just watching and start doing the messy, frustrating work yourself. Here's a surprising truth. Testing yourself is 10 times more powerful than rereading notes. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to memorize a recipe by staring at it versus actually cooking the dish. Which sticks better? Science calls this active recall, forcing your brain to retrieve information, not just passively absorb it. When you quiz yourself, it's like practicing a sport instead of just watching it. You build stronger skills and retain information more effectively. For example, students who tested themselves on history facts remembered twice as much as those who just reread textbooks. How does this work in real life? Picture yourself practicing for a job interview. Instead of reviewing your resume bullet points, try answering common interview questions out loud. Stumble over an answer? Perfect. Those mistakes teach your brain what to focus on. Or if you're mastering basketball free throws, practice without glancing at a tutorial. Your body learns faster by doing, not watching. The rule is simple. Stop reviewing. Start testing yourself. True learning isn't about comfort. It's about challenging your brain to rebuild that knowledge from scratch. Most people believe learning is about gathering facts into your brain. But here's the truth. Knowledge is worthless if it stays trapped in your head. The secret? Start doing before you feel ready. Learn the basics, jump into action, and figure out the rest as you go. Instead of memorizing every detail up front, focus only on what you need right now. For example, imagine learning to cook. You don't need to master 100 recipes first. Pick one dish, try making it, even if it burns, then tweak your method next time. This learn as you do approach saves time and sticks better because you're solving real problems, not drowning in theory you'll forget. Ever felt stuck trying to level up a skill? You practice for hours, but progress stalls. You're stuck on a plateau, clueless about what's missing. That's where feedback loops become your superpower. Think of feedback like headlights in the dark. Without it, you're driving blind. It shows you exactly where you're messing up, what's working, and where to focus next. Want to get results faster? Stop guessing. Ask for feedback early, fix mistakes, and repeat. Learning isn't about perfection, it's about adapting faster than your doubts. A feedback loop is a cycle where you try something, see what happens, learn from it, and then make changes. Imagine trying a new recipe. You mix the ingredients, action, and then taste the dish, result. If it's too spicy, you use less chili next time. Adjustment. There are two types of feedback loops. Positive feedback makes you want to repeat what worked well, like when a dish turns out perfectly and you feel excited to cook it again. Negative feedback, on the other hand, shows you your mistakes. If the dish is too salty, you know to adjust your seasoning next time. This cycle of trying, learning, and adjusting helps you improve quickly so you never repeat the same mistakes without knowing how to fix them. The most damaging mistake people make when learning a skill isn't laziness or lack of talent, it's avoiding feedback. Why? Because feedback stings. It's tough to hear that your homemade bread tastes like cardboard or that your presentation confused the audience. But here's the brutal reality. Dodging feedback is why so many people stay stuck in beginner mode forever. Ever met someone who claims, I've played piano for years, but I still can't nail a song? Chances are they never asked a teacher to point out their timing mistakes or recorded themselves to spot errors. They're trapped in the 10,000 hour myth, the idea that 10,000 hours of practice are required to become an expert in any field. But if you practice shooting basketball free throws with terrible form for 10,000 hours, you'll just become really good at missing. The key isn't hours logged, it's how quickly you correct errors. Imagine learning to drive. If your instructor only told you weeks later that you ran a red light, you'd keep making the same mistake. But instant feedback, like a game flashing wrong move when you mess up, lets you adjust on the spot. That's why practicing dance in front of a mirror works better than relying on memory. You spot mistakes instantly instead of noticing them later in a recording. Not all feedback helps you grow. Some is completely useless. Comments like, just try harder or good job, keep it up, are too fuzzy to act on. To speed up learning, feedback needs to be sharp, practical, and immediate. Skip the pep talks and blame. Focus on what to fix. For example, instead of hearing, your guitar solo was rough, you need, your timing slipped in the second bar, practice with a metronome. Or, your soup needs more salt, add a pinch and taste again. But how do you build this kind of feedback into your routine? Start with self-review. Film yourself giving a speech, then watch it to catch awkward pauses or mumbled words. Next, seek expert input. Ask a seasoned photographer to critique your lighting setup or composition. They'll spot flaws you'd never notice. Finally, use targeted drills. Break the skill into tiny pieces and polish one at a time. If you're learning basketball free throws, shoot 50 shots while focusing only on your elbow angle. Each attempt becomes a mini experiment. Tweak, test, repeat. Feedback loops aren't magic. They're just a way to stop flying blind and start steering toward progress. Ever notice how some people pick up skills like they're hacking a video game, while others grind for months with little to show? The trick isn't talent, it's ruthless focus. Most learners drown themselves in endless tutorials, guides, and courses thinking more info equals faster growth, but this backfires hard. Your brain gets clogged with useless details like trying to drink from a fire hose. Enter the 80-20 rule. In 1897, Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto observed that 80% of land in Italy was owned by only 20% of the population, a finding that led to the principle. Today, this concept is applied to almost every aspect of modern life. For instance, 20% of common cooking spices create 80% of the flavor in most dishes. 20% of gym exercises, like squats and push-ups, build 80% of your strength. 20% of grammar rules let you crack 80% of a new language. Even in retail, 20% of your products likely generate 80% of your sales. The lesson? Don't focus on unimportant details. Fast learners ignore the nice-to-know 80% and concentrate on the vital 20% that actually moves the needle. If 80% of your guitar progress comes from nailing chords, spend 80% of your practice there. If 20% of writing tips transform your storytelling, obsess over those. Mastery isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but with precision. Find the 20% that matters, crush it, and watch your skills explode. Imagine your car breaking down in the middle of nowhere. Would you rather rely on a group of friends who've never touched an engine or a skilled mechanic who has fixed hundreds of cars? The answer is obvious, and the same logic applies to mastering any skill. Experts aren't just teachers, they're human accelerators. They slice through the noise, revealing shortcuts and mistakes you'd never catch alone. Think of them as GPS for your progress. A seasoned chef watches you chop vegetables and instantly spots your grip is too tight, wasting energy. A pro guitarist hears your strumming and points out the half-second delay, ruining your rhythm. These are blind spots, invisible errors you'd repeat for years without a guide. When learning solo, you're like a hiker without a map. Every step feels right until you're lost. For example, you might practice yoga for months, unaware your misaligned posture is straining your back. No amount of YouTube tutorials will fix that. But an instructor adjusts your stance in seconds, turning wasted effort into breakthroughs. Experts don't just teach, they see around corners. It's like a race car coach who spots your braking flaw on the first lap while you're still wondering why you keep skidding. Their feedback transforms "I'm stuck" into "I get it" overnight. Imagine learning to ride a bike. You keep wobbling and falling no matter how hard you try. Then someone experienced watches for a moment and says, "You're gripping the handlebars too tight. Relax your arms and you'll balance better." That small adjustment? Suddenly you're riding smoothly. Left alone, you'd spend weeks struggling, not knowing what's wrong. Self-taught learners often get stuck in trial and error, adjusting the seat height, changing the way they push off, but still falling. Experts remove the guesswork because they've already made and corrected those mistakes. Think of a student struggling with maths. A teacher shows them a simple trick to break down complex problems, and suddenly, everything clicks. Learning from experts isn't just about getting quick fixes, it's about absorbing their mindset. You pick up the right terms, like how a chef knows the difference between simmering and boiling, while beginners just turn up the heat. You also start thinking like them. A mechanic learns to diagnose car trouble by sound instead of endlessly replacing parts. Experts also push high standards. Join a group of skilled writers, and suddenly your okay work doesn't feel good enough anymore. You start refining every sentence. It's intimidating at first. A beginner basketball player practicing with pros might feel out of place, but that pressure makes them train harder. It's not about being judged, it's about leveling up. When you surround yourself with experts, their skills, habits, and mindset start to rub off on you. So, what are you waiting for? Pick one skill, apply these techniques, and watch yourself level up. Don't just watch, start doing. And if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's the first skill you're going to crush? See you in the next one.